Dinner time in a multi-cat household is a nightmare. At least, it was until we got this 7 years ago. The SureFeed feeder. 5 feeders later and dinner time has become a breeze. No more food theft. But Sure Petcare sells 2 versions and they look almost identical. Sure Petcare upgraded the standard bowl, creating the SureFeed Microchip Pet Feeder Connect. In their app, you can see trends of your cat's eating habits, such as how often, how long, and how much they eat. But all of this comes in at a higher asking price. So, is it worth it? Well, 7 months ago, we bought one to find out. Let's just say that it's not exactly been a smooth ride though.
Oh god, look at this.
It turns out the SureFeed Microchip Connect is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of cat feeders.
Now, these SureFeed feeders, they don't rely on any messy power cables, which means they can be placed anywhere. So to do that, they rely on 4 C-cell batteries, which are here and here. However, that presented some major engineering challenges, which actually shaped the entire design of this product. Here are 2 that you need to know about.
Challenge 1. The feeders use RFID scanners to read your cat's chips, but RFID scanners are very power hungry. So to save energy, Sure Petcare engineers combine them with a series of infrared sensors. Now, these sensors keep the RFID scanners turned off until they detect movement. Only then does the scanner wake up to check the chip. Challenge 2. Moving data from the bowl to your smartphone is very power hungry.
To help explain it, I've gone out and bought a ton of fruit. So we've got cucumber, pears, an apple. Pink lady apples, they are the best. We have an eggplant or an aubergine, depending on where in the world you are. And we have a pepper. Now, technically, all of these are fruits. Now, most people think of Wi-Fi as one thing. It's just like this invisible magic that's coming from your router. But Wi-Fi is a lot like this table of fruit. So each one serves a completely different purpose, right? So when you're thinking of traditional Wi-Fi, you're thinking about this. You've got your apples, you got your pears, and maybe you've even got your bananas. But this is what the other competing brands have used. So they use traditional Wi-Fi, but it does come back with a massive drawback. You see, all of those feeders have to be plugged in to be powered, as traditional Wi-Fi tends to use a significant amount more power.
But as these feeders only use batteries, they had to do something different.
What Sure Petcare use, Zigbee, I think I'm saying that right. So what it allows you to do is to move data, or small tiny bits of data, from one device to another, and it uses a very, very small amount of power. These are technically fruits, but they do completely different things.
Unfortunately, standard home routers just don't tend to support Zigbee.
What Sure Petcare has done, and what home smart devices like Philips Hue have done, they introduce a hub. What the hub does is it sits between your home router and then your feeder, and what it does is it communicates between them both. Problem is that those hubs do cost quite a lot extra. That's something that we're going to come back to later in the video, as it's one of the big drawbacks. But the cool thing is it does allow you at least to have these feeders completely without cables, unlike the traditional Wi-Fi.
Now, both models share the same bowls and lid mechanisms. Sure Petcare added a rubber seal that presses against the lid. This keeps wet food fresher for longer and stops pests like flies from getting in. The feeders ship with plastic bowls, but they also sell stainless steel options. Now, we actually prefer those because they reduce the risk of cat acne. Both have 4 C-cell batteries, they can read standard RFID collar tags if your cat isn't microchipped, and a single bowl can store profiles for up to 32 cats. The final major hardware feature on the Connect model is the built-in scale. Now, instead of pulling out separate kitchen scales every time you feed your cat, which can get old pretty fast, Sure Petcare built the scale directly into the bowl. You open the app and you set your cat's target weight portion in grams or ounces. You press the button on the feeder to zero out the scale. As you add food, a strip of LED lights on the front acts as a real-time progress bar, lighting up from left to right. Now, this does eliminate guesswork, however, we're not really sold on this, but again, more on that a little bit later. This brings us to the app. Now, I'm going to keep the setup process pretty brief. It's not quite as smooth as Apple's user experience, but it's close. Create an account, plug in the hub, and then just follow the prompts. Now, once the feeder is online, you can then share it with family members and link it to your cat. To do that, just drop a few treats in the bowl and then coax Wolf, Oreo, or Cookie over. The feeder scans and then save their microchip, and then you're done. The app lets you monitor 3 core metrics: how much your cat ate, how long they spent eating, and then how many times they visited the bowl. Now, all of this data is logged, displayed using clear, intuitive graphs. This one right here is my absolute favorite. This grey bar shows the entire 24-hour day, and then these green bubbles shows exactly when your cat visited the bowl. Now, you can actually click on these green bubbles, and then you can see the precise amount of food they consumed. If you look at the weekly view, you can easily start to map out our feeding schedule. You can even zoom out to see a month-by-month comparison of total consumption. Now, as a data nerd, I absolutely love this level of visibility. To be clear, this isn't an app you'll need to open daily, but when you do, everything is tracked. All of this data flows to your phone, even when you're away from home, and if you're brave, you can even turn on push notifications. Now, with notifications on, your phone alerts you the second they visit the bowl, which tells you exactly how much they ate. It even logs when your food is added to the bowl, which is perfect if you want to monitor your cat sitter. Now, the reason I say brave is because if you have a serial grazer like Oreo, your phone will start blowing up like Microsoft Teams when some juicy office gossip drops. Beyond the data, the app also solves the mystery of battery life by giving you an exact percentage indicator. But spoiler alert, with this specific feeder, tracking that battery metric is going to become incredibly important. But we're going to get onto that nightmare in a moment. Now, at the start of the video, I called the product a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde of pet tech. We looked at the good side, now it's time to look at the dark side. So, with all that clever low-powered engineering, how was the battery life? Sure Petcare claims you get 6 months of battery life, but in our testing, we get between 2 and 3 weeks. Battery drain depends heavily on customer usage, and our cat Oreo is a serial snacker. He eats for up to an hour a day and returns up to the bowl over 20 times a day. That super heavy traffic likely destroys our battery metrics. That said, online customer reviews point to exactly the same issue, so your mileage is definitely going to vary. And then to make all of these matters way worse, Sure Petcare states you should not use rechargeable batteries. So if you follow that rule and look at our 2-week battery reality, you're going to be spending an extra £15 per month per feeder just on disposable batteries. That is completely unsustainable. The integrated scales are a great concept, but the mechanical design is flawed. In fact, it's so maddening that it makes me wonder if the person that designed this product has actually ever cleaned up after a cat. The standard feeder wasn't perfect to clean, but the benefits outweighed the hassle. But with this Connect version, adding the scale creates dozens of tiny little unsealed gaps. Food falls then into these cracks, dries out, and then gets stuck. And because of the gaps and the electronics, deep cleaning is impossible.
Look at this. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, that's horrible. Look at these mechanisms, like it's covered in like a juice. I don't even know what that is.
Just after 6 months, the metal components on the scale are already beginning to rust. Forcing customers to spend 2 to 3 minutes scraping out food every single session is a complete failure of product design. Now, I know that innovation comes at a cost, but the pricing here makes no sense. At the time of this recording, the Connect version costs around £140. That's £40 more than the base model. And if you have a multi-pet household, you're going to need more than one, so the costs are going to compound quickly. But it gets way worse. You're forced to buy the Sure Petcare Hub to make the smart features work. And while one hub can then connect multiple of these feeders, the hub costs around an extra £90 more. That means you are spending nearly £250 for a single feeder setup. I mean, it does have cute glowing ears, but it's just not worth the price. Do you really need to weigh food every single day in the first place? Let's take our routine with Oreo. He eats 8 sachets of food a day. The manufacturer though has already standardized the portion size, so it never changes. So if it does then begin to look a little bit heavy, do we need an app to tell us what to do, or do we just simply feed him a little bit less? If you use dry kibble, well, it's the same common sense logic. As a pet owner, you check on your cat's feeding habits simply by walking over to change the bowl. You already have 2 sensors built right into your face, your eyes. Paying a fortune for an app to tell you what a quick glance at the floor order reveals makes no sense at all.
Now, there is a massive caveat here. If you're managing a problem like a diabetic cat, the data is a literal lifesaver. Precision matters. And there's one more flaw, and honestly, it's a big one. Innovation. You see, back in 2019, when they launched this product, they were the first company to combine selective access with smart features. But since then, well, competitors have just caught up. You see, Sure Petcare's restricted patents gave them a virtual stranglehold on the selective access market for years. And I think that those patents made them complacent, which is exactly why all of these glaring hardware issues still exist. In fact, their lack of innovation is so acute that regular customers have resorted to 3D printing their own workarounds just to fix the feeder's design flaws. And honestly, some of them look like they're actually worth a go. Has anyone out there actually tried any of these 3D printed mods? We'd be super interested to know, so let us know in the comments if you have. So how do we sum up the SureFeed Microchip Feeder Connect? Well, it is the ultimate realization of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The tragedy of the product is that Dr. Jekyll cannot exist without unleashing Mr. Hyde. This brilliant data tracking Dr. Jekyll side is amazing. And as a data nerd, I love that the metrics are there. The app is incredibly stable, the graphs are beautiful, and unlike almost everything else in 2026, there is no ongoing subscription fees. That is a complete rarity. But to get to Dr. Jekyll's brilliant smart data, you are forced to invite Mr. Hyde into your home. The hardware required to track that data is exactly what destroys the battery life in 2 weeks. It is exactly what creates these tiny little unsealed gaps that makes it impossible to clean, and it is exactly what forces you to pay a massive £90 hub tax and then buy £30 worth of rechargeable gear just to get the bloody thing online. By adding the Connect features, Sure Petcare built a product that actively fights against itself. So because of all that, I cannot recommend this feeder. If you want to keep peace in a multi-cat household, kill off Mr. Hyde entirely and avoid the Connect model. Instead, stick with Dr. Jekyll's original masterpiece, the basic non-connected model. It gives you the same microchip access without any of the smart tech nightmares. Or better yet, train your kittens to wear a collar from a young age so you can completely bypass Sure Petcare's monopoly and choose from a wider, cheaper variety of feeders. Now look, this is our opinion. I'll be interested to see what you think. If you have this feeder, let us know in the comments below. And if you do want to know about another feeder that we've tested, we checked out the Pet Libro camera feeder here in a previous review. Please make sure you hit the like button if you think Ori and Wolf are super cute. Please make sure you share the video with another pet owner, and thank you for watching.